welcome back to this week's episode of Influence with Intention, sponsored by Zevia. Just kidding, I freaking wish. This is a series where we talk about using your life, your platform, whatever that might be, using it in a positive way to influence others. Because you do not have to be an influencer to have influence. It's February, and since it's officially love month, I unintentionally wore pink today. Cute. I feel like this month is the perfect time to focus on what love really means. So this 4-week series in February is called Love with Intention. We're going to be exploring love from different angles. Week 1, we're going to start with the foundation, loving God and loving others based off what Jesus says. In everyday life, we talk about love all the time, but I feel like it is very much generalized as like big, huge, grand gestures. The Bible, though, calls it something so much deeper. Love is all of those tiny little actions. Love is a choice. And to live an intentional life, no matter what that means or looks like to you, it has to be rooted in a place of love. Because if you want to influence somebody, it has to come from a good place. It has to come from a place of like, I care about that person. When we live in a place without love, it is isolating and it is heavy. I'm sure we've all been in a place in a certain time in our life where we've just felt so alone. Love is often tied into a relationship perspective. So think about a relationship without love. It's driven by selfishness. It's driven by fear. You'll feel disconnected because you get caught up in like the resentment, judgment. Without love in any relationship, there is a lack of purpose. And without love, it is so easy to just focus inward, focus on what you want instead of what somebody else needs. You totally miss the joy of serving others without love. And how we talked about in other episodes, how influence causes a ripple effect of actions. Life without love does the exact same thing. Negativity or actions stem from selfishness can cause a ripple effect too. Let's dive into our Bible verse for today. It is Matthew 22 verses 37 through 39. Jesus says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." I think the biggest takeaway from these verses is that love is not just a feeling. Love is how we live. It is what we do. We do things stems from love. So what does loving God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, what does that look like? Because it seems very daunting. It just means putting him first in every part of your life. It's about spending time with God. This could be through reading his word. This could be through prayer. This could be through worship. The action of loving God can also be equal to trusting God. Even when you're like, this doesn't make any sense, like putting your trust in him that he will get you through something. Because when we fill our hearts with God's love, it is going to spill over to everybody around you. I have been a Christian my whole life. I grew up knowing about God. I went to a Christian school. I went to Catholic church. And obviously throughout my life, I've had different stages of my faith, like growing in my faith with God, actually accepting Christ and learning what that meant. This season of my life now is definitely putting everything I know into action. Like, yes, I love God with my whole heart, but do I actually trust him with my finances, with my plan for my life? I have learned that lesson hard this year, that when I do not put my love into action and actually trust God with all those things I said, like my finances, my job, life's not fun because I'm constantly stressed. But when I actually take the time to spend time with God, to pray to God and be like, this is what I'm struggling with, like, please help me get through this. Please, I'm trusting you with my job, my finances, like all of that. That's love in action. And the peace you find from that ripple effects to other people, and they notice. The second part of the verse challenges us to love others as we love ourselves. And let's be real, we all love ourselves, but it can be really hard to love somebody else. People are messy, people are annoying, and relationships are not perfect. It takes so much effort to see somebody else through God's eyes, to actually take the time and be like, okay, I'm not gonna look at them through the eyes of, oh, they're really annoying me. Oh, like, I just don't like how they do this. Like, I have to look at them through God's eyes, be like, God made them for a purpose. But when we see another person in God's eyes, it becomes way easier to be kind, to give them grace when they mess up, to forgive someone when they mess up. But loving someone does not mean agreeing with everything they do. It's just about treating someone with compassion, with dignity, with respect, treating them from a place where I love you, I care about you, I want the best for you. I don't agree with you, but I want the best for you. But like I said, it is so hard to do that and to love others and not just be 100% focused on yourself. Because let's be honest, we all love putting ourselves at the center of our lives, because that's what the world says is like how it's supposed to be. That like, I'm supposed to be looking out for myself. It might feel empowering at first to be like, oh yes, I am doing what I want, what I think I need. But over time, it just becomes very isolating. And over time, I think you feel the weight of having to do it all on your own, not relying on God or friends or anyone else to help you along the way. When you live a self-centered life, you are missing out on the relationships that can help you get through life. Because just like we want to have an influence on other people and make an impact and help other people want to do that too. So when you are self-centered and not open to other people helping, you're causing someone else, stopping them from being able to have an impact on you too. Not putting love at the center and putting yourself at the center comes with a lot of pride, with comparison. And it's like a constant pursuit of self-gratification. Like, what can I do now to make myself feel better? But none of it ever satisfies. It's never going to. It might be like a momentary, like, oh yes, that felt good, but you're never going to find true joy from putting yourself at the center of your life instead of love. We can either be living a life of our wants, our needs, that's what drives us, or we can be living a life driven by God's love, because you can't love God and love others to the best of your ability when you put yourself at the center of it. So what are some intentional ways that you can live out love this week? Number one, start with God. Like I said, God has to be at the center of loving others. If you want to make an impact, a true impact, like meaningful, you have to have God's love at the center and let that flow to make the impact. Dedicate each morning to spend time with Him. It could be prayer, it could be devotional, it could be writing down things you're grateful for. A quick reflection of what you have going on today and letting God's love drive you through that. Number two, be kind on purpose. An easy way to show love is to be kind. It could be something as simple as texting your friend, complimenting a stranger. I had a grandma compliment me in the grocery store the other day, and it was the nicest thing ever. Number three, let go of grudges. We all hold grudges. We all hold things over people's heads when they've done us wrong. But there truly is nothing like more like than letting go of a grudge. That doesn't mean you need to let someone completely back in your life, but taking yourself out of it and trying to see that person from God's eyes and be like, okay, we all mess up. Like, I can forgive them. I can let that go. My dog's barking. It doesn't mean I'm completely letting them back in my life, but I'm gonna let God take that bitterness, that resentment, and take it away from me. Forgiveness is a powerful act of love. So this week's challenge, really focus on loving God, your relationship with God, and implementing that to love others. Ask yourself in the beginning of the day, what is something I can do today to show love to somebody? Maybe that's quality time with a loved one. Maybe that's, like I said, complimenting a stranger. Maybe it's doing a task or an errand for someone that when they didn't ask. Or everyone loves to give gifts around Valentine's Day. Maybe it's just giving someone an intentional gift that you normally wouldn't do that for. I would love to hear what intentional act of love y'all are going to do this week, so feel free to comment it below. If you have any questions, as always, you can comment them below or just DM me. Thank y'all so much for joining in on week 1 of Love with Intention. I will see y'all back here next week. Bye, y'all.